This segment of CoastLife is sponsored by the Parker Group.
Well, we know that the world of real estate is ever-changing. It is fluid. You think you know one thing, and then whoop, that'll change right out from under you. So to give us the latest updates, the latest things to kind of be aware of, we've got Dustin Parker with the Parker Group joining us. And Dustin, we've talked many a time about how the real estate world is always changing. What do people need to know right now?
Yeah, the real estate market is always changing, and the industry as a whole has been changing over the last few years as well. We went from this really crazy market during COVID where homes were just selling like hotcakes. We would get multiple offers in just a couple of days, to interest rates, almost doubling overnight. And what that did is it locked so many Americans in place. And so they have these 2.5, 2.9% interest rates. And it's really difficult for someone to consider switching that or trading that for a 7% interest rate, which is what we're looking at mostly today.
So how does this sort of affect both sellers and buyers from their respective point of views?
Yeah, so if you're a seller, the good news is that prices, while they have come down just a little bit over the last couple of years, they're still pretty good. We had this rapid appreciation where home prices were increasing 10, 20, 30% year over year for a couple of years in a row. And so sellers have a ton of equity still in their homes for the most part, but they are taking a lot longer to sell. And so where homes were selling in just 1 or 2 days previously, you need to expect now potentially up to 3 or 4 months, depending on which price point you're in. But for buyers, what this does is it creates a lot more optionality.
Yes.
So they have more time to browse, they have more time to kind of look around and see what it is that they're interested in. They can negotiate a little bit harder. So it does create a little bit more balance in the market, which is what we're seeing today.
It feels more normal, I guess, so to say. I think, we're still sort of, our brains are taking a little longer to catch up to those COVID years, I think in every regard, not just in the real estate world, but things are settling. This feels more normal or a little bit more traditional, I guess, for a real estate market.
Yeah, and it was tough, really for both parties, because sellers, they were in this kind of frenzy of if they put their house up for sale today, there's a good chance it's going to sell tomorrow, and now I got to figure out where I'm going really fast. And buyers, they're putting in multiple offers and on sometimes 2 or 3 houses at the same time, just in hopes that one says yes. But it is much more balanced today.
Yeah, we like the idea of balance. And of course, we like the idea of the transparency that I think you guys at the Parker Group are really good at giving, realistic expectations to your sellers when they come to you and they do say, I want this, you do want a price for the stars. And you guys are like, maybe not that.
Yeah, and we've had that conversation even just as recently as this week with people where we're very honest with them, and sometimes it's just not the right time for you to sell. If you don't need to move for a specific reason, depending on your circumstance, depending on which price point you're in and where you're at specifically in the market, it may not be the right time for you to sell. And we're going to be honest with you because it's more important for us to serve you as a client now so that we can potentially get your business in the future, but do what's best for you in the moment that you're in.
Yeah, I think that's just one of the many ways that you guys at the Parker Group shine. You take care of your sellers, you help your buyers, and make sure that everybody is transparent, open, honest, and you know what you're getting into with a huge life change like buying or selling a home.
Yes, it's one of the biggest changes that you can make, and it's enormously stressful for so many people to go through, and so we want to make sure that you have the most information possible as you do that.
Is there any other information that folks need to know at this point, especially as things are kind of changing, if they're a buyer, if they're a seller, or if they're even just sort of thinking about the process vaguely?
Yeah, I would say as always, you want to start early in the process. So start having a conversation with a real estate agent or a mortgage lender as early as you can so that you have as much information as possible as you're entering it.
Perfect. So we'll always, who to turn to when you have those questions. And I know we'll be chatting with you guys again as those changes come our way. Well, Dustin, thank you as always for all you guys do with the Parker Group, and for being here on CoastLife today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of course. We do have some more CoastLife to get to, more fun, more community to celebrate on the way.